I'm about to change the entire gameplay of my own game. Is it worth it? So here's the plan. What if I could get my sword to act like a grapple? Just like that. And then pull me all the way towards it. I think that's a pretty good idea. Let's try it out. So attempt number 1 didn't go to plan. Really wasn't expecting it to. I was just throwing some ideas out there, thinking a cable attached to the sword, attach that to my character, and I can kind of get a swinging around thing. It just doesn't work with these simulations of the physics and the cables. Whatever, we had to give up on that idea and we had to start again from scratch. So then I decided, let's just focus on the firing of the blade and see if we can get that working, attach something to it later on, and it will be good to go. And this one was actually the one that sticks. So the first thing was adding some type of projectile movement, and that worked. Now, I needed to make sure that when it hit an item, it stayed there. Wait for it. There you go. That's absolutely perfect. There's a few things going on, mostly around collision and attaching the actor to any component, but that's it. And how satisfying is that? I then added an arrow to Graveblade just to make sure I could see exactly where I was aiming at, and then I just tested it a ton of times, seeing if they stick to like anything that was just in my view, and they work out perfectly. But we are far from finished. I'm still wondering, can I get a cable to attach me to it and move me to that place? That's where it gets a little bit more messy. Well, your boy's gone and done it. It's working. It's still obviously room for improvement, but it is definitely working. I will be doing a tutorial series once I've refined it a bit more, so keep your eyes out for that. But the reality is it's mostly just floats and timelines, let's be real. The one thing I had to really watch out for was not clipping through the world or the landscape or falling through the map, and there was a way around that. The trick is, let me find something. Here we are, 2 drumsticks will do the job. So, this is me. This is the sword, ready? It fires out, it sticks into a certain place. I have to then set myself up to move to it without getting past it, because let's say if I hit into like a mountain, I don't want to go past it and be stuck inside like a void in a game where you break a game and you go through something. That did happen a lot in testing where I'd fall through the entire map. So that was quite simple to do. We just had to do a bit of tolerance issues and making sure that I didn't fully get to the end point. That does cause me another problem later on, but I get around it really cool. Okay, so now here is where some of the frustration things start to come into play. First thing, melee. Okay, here is the big issue with melee. Currently, the sword is going to be extending out. I want it to swing around a little bit whilst I'm in combat. Obviously, this isn't going to be a perfect example, but the default cable in Unreal Engine is acting more like something really static like that, and it's just moving around like that. It's not very good. I want it to have a bit more swing, a bit more life into it. And I was stuck on that for quite a bit of time. I tried to use wind, I tried to use physics, I tried to use a bunch of different ways to force that cable to move. No. Then I stumbled upon a really, really cool post on an Epic Forums thread that someone said, get this little asset here, and it saved my day. It absolutely works. It goes straight out of the box. It's just a plugin, and hey presto, now we have got some kind of slightly janky but definitely working cable movement. So let me break down the mechanics completely for you. You've got the melee version of the sword where it slightly extends out and waves around and hits the enemies. That's perfect. I'm pretty happy with that one, though I do refine it a bit more throughout this video. The second one is obviously the grapple traversal. Click onto something, drag you over to it. That one's working really well. We'll talk about that in a second. The other one that's not really ready for video, but I'm going to show it anyway, is pulling enemies towards me. Let's say, let's grab this thing. My son's Minecraft block, right? I fire my grapple blade at it, and then it pulls it towards me. Now this will be for an enemy, right? It worked absolutely fine, but I wanted to like stab through the enemy and kill them, set simulate physics, and pull them back to me. I thought that'd be hilarious. Turns out the character model I had wouldn't set simulate physics unless I found the physics asset for it, and then I found it, then I applied it to it, and it was perfect, and it worked really, really well, but I didn't record it. So the next day, I loaded it open, pressed record, the enemies were just broken. They were gone. That physics destroyed them. There was a cool way to get around it, and I'll do a video on that if I ever find that problem again. But yeah, enemies are very, very far behind in production right now, which is really frustrating, and I lost a ton of code from them. Now, after a bit more refinement, how does the melee look? I'm thinking it's actually looking pretty decent. It works really, really well in game. This is all slowed down, but it really is starting to come together. I know what you're waiting for though, the traversal. Let's give it a shot. So here we are. This is the traversal, and it is working out so darn well. I made sure to slow down time whilst aiming. I also launched my character in the air. So when you get pulled towards it, you're also getting pushed up on the Z axis too. So it's kind of like throwing you up in the air and pulling you towards it, which works out absolutely great. But the issue is, if I want to reach a certain ledge, it takes me to it. But remember that thing where I said we couldn't get too close to the sword? That's causing me an issue. So I thought about it, and I didn't have a real good double jump in the game. And I love a double jump. So I added one in, but a really pretty one. You might notice it from the intro trailer. It's the same animation. It just comes up and you have that little twirl up in the air. Boom. You can land anywhere now. It is so darn good. I'm so happy with the result. It's just ridiculous. So this is the Grapple Blades, pretty much 1.0, and there is so much more to do, and I will be doing a full tutorial series on this one at some point. So if you are from the past or from the future, I'm not too sure which way, check the links below because there might be a tutorial in there of me covering this entire thing. But I know what you're waiting for. How does it look in game? Let's check it out. There is the Grapple Blade. Thank you so much. I have been George64. If you want to learn how to make video games, by all means, go check the links in our bio. I teach people. I've been doing it for 5 years. Otherwise, I have been George64. I will see you soon. Goodbye.